All right, so we got a good range of ages. I think we have a couple 5-year-olds, and then we have 7 and on up. But I'm hoping that we can just do some experiments that are cool to look at, learn a little bit, and be fun for everyone. All right, so quiet. Just to introduce myself, my name is Ben. So I am a scientist, specifically an aerospace engineer, but I'm interested in all kinds of different science. And today, the theme of the day is going to be air pressure. So we're going to do 5 different experiments starting in just a minute, but I want to talk a little bit about what pressure is and then what air pressure is and why it's important and why it really matters to what to our lives and the things that we do. So first of all, what is pressure? Can someone tell me what pressure is? Does anybody have a definition of pressure? I'll come back to you. Does anybody know where pressure might matter or where we might encounter pressure? How about you? Go for it. Speak loudly.
Because pressure is something that forces it down or up.
Imogen said that pressure is something that forces down or up. So maybe it's something that moves things around. Does anybody else have an idea of what pressure is? And feel free to, you can just stay unmuted, shout out. I don't have a good system for raising hands or anything like that. So feel free just to jump in. All right, so I think Imogen gave a pretty good idea of what pressure is. So pressure is basically a force that's applied over a specific area. Now what that means, a force is, say if I'm pushing on Imogen's head, I'm applying a force to her head, right? So if I use my whole hand to apply that force, I kind of spread out all that force along the side of her head. So maybe you can even try to do that. So why don't you take your hand, press down on your head. All right. So that's kind of spread out over your whole side of your head. Now take one finger and you're going to press down on top of your head. Which one do you think hurt? Does one of them feel a little more or hurt a little more maybe, or start to hurt? I don't want you to hurt yourself, but which one? The one with the finger or the one with your hand?
The one with your finger.
Go ahead, Julian.
The finger.
Right, the finger. All right, so it's important to remember that pressure, it's not just about how hard you're pressing, it's about how big of an area you apply that over, right? So I'm applying that force, that pressure over one really small little point on top of my head, whereas with my whole hand, I'm pressing my whole, I'm using that force over a wider area. Have you guys ever seen videos where someone takes 12 eggs and they are able to stand on those 12 eggs, right? So if you were to stand on one egg, what do you think would happen? If I got one egg, put it on the floor and stood on it, what do you guys think would happen?
Crack. It
would crack, right? I'm just shout it out. So it would crack, it would make a huge mess, right? But if you took, and I'm not gonna do this experiment today, but if you took a dozen eggs and you were able to step on all those eggs at once and spread out the weight of your body, you would be able to stand on those eggs without cracking them, right? So you're applying the weight of your body over a bigger area, right? As opposed to on top of one egg, which I would definitely crack. I'm way too heavy for one egg, but maybe 12 eggs could stand me up. And that might be an experiment for you guys to try at home just to understand pressure a little bit. All right, so let's shift to what I want to talk about today. So today I want to talk about something called air pressure. All right, have you guys, what are some examples of air pressure? When do you feel air? Do you know the air is pressing on your body all the time around you? I think of an example when you have birthdays. What's something that's filled with air when you have a birthday party or any kind of party? Go ahead, Julian.
Balloon.
A balloon, right. So I actually got a balloon here. So when I press on this balloon, I press really hard and I can't squeeze it, right? What's stopping me from squeezing it?
The air inside.
Right, it's the air inside, right? It's pushing back, right? So it's able to pressure, to have this force and this push back against, regardless of how hard I push, it's still not gonna pop. What do we put in our tires of our car or of our bikes? What do we fill those with?
Air.
Let's let someone else say so. Okay, I'll let everybody else have a chance as opposed to Imogen just jumping in, but we fill those with air, right? And you guys know a car is really, really heavy, but we're able to put air into those tires. And we're able to keep our car moving and make sure those tires aren't flat just through air, right? So air is always pressing on you. Right now, it's pressing on all of us It's all around us. We're just used to it, so we don't really feel it. It's not like it's squeezing us all the time. We're used to that pressure from air. So what are some reasons the air pressure might be different from one place to another? What are some things that affect air temperature? Julian, go ahead.
Cause there's a different amount of air in different places.
Yep.
In the
So,
yeah.
yeah, that's good. So there's different amounts of molecules or these little particles of air everywhere in different places. And the things that kind of control how much air you have, there's three things. There's temperature, there's altitude, and there's moisture. So how much water is in the air. So when air gets hot and it heats up, those little particles of air go really, really fast and they increase pressure. So the warmer the temperature, the bigger the pressure. And altitude, so have you guys ever, who's been in an airplane? Raise your hand if you've been in an airplane. Who's gone up a mountain? Has anybody driven up a mountain? So as you go up and up, what happens to your ears? What happens to your ears? Go ahead. Yep. Do they start to pop? Right, they start to pop. Why do you think your ears pop as you go up? Go ahead, Julian.
Because there's less oxygen, so it kind of clogs your ears, so you can't hear as much.
Yeah, so actually it's related to pressure. So that's good. There's less oxygen, there's just less pressure in the air. So what that means, inside your head, you have quite a bit of pressure, right? You have all this built up pressure inside your head. And then as you go up, the air pressure outside of your head is less. So that air that's inside of your head goes out and it causes your ear to pop, right? So that's the next important point. That's a lot of what we're going to talk about today, is that air or changes in air pressure cause air to move. Okay, so air always moves from areas of high pressure to low pressure. So if we can cause certain changes in pressure from either heating or adding moisture or going up, we can get air to move. All right, so that's what some of our experiments are going to deal with today. We're going to get to our first experiment. And this one is going to show how temperature can make things move. All right, so Mei-Ling, who is organizing this, is going to post a material list. Hopefully in the future, I'll give you a material list so you guys can kind of work along with me. But for today, we're just going to, I'm going to show you some of these experiments and then we'll put the material list after the fact. I should, as a good scientist, be wearing safety goggles and have gloves on, especially if I'm working with matches and fire. I'm going to have the girls stand back in just a second. In the future, I will do so. For today, just bear with me. Keep in mind, you should definitely be using that stuff, but we'll just go with it today. All right, so the first experiment we're going to do is I'm going to take, this is a little water balloon, right? You can also do this with an egg, so a hard-boiled egg. I'm going to take this little water balloon, and I'm going to try to put it into this bottle. You guys can immediately see that it's too big for this bottle, right? So I'm going to actually have Beatrix come over here. Let's see if she can kind of squish it in, not too hard, because I don't want it to pop. Does it fit in?
No.
Nope. Okay, she definitely cannot get this in. So I'm going to try to use air pressure to get this into here. Okay, so what's a way that I can maybe cause a pressure change inside this bottle? And you have a hint here because I have matches. What's something you think I could do?
Set a fire in there.
All right, I can try to warm up the temperature inside here, sit this on top, and hope it gets sucked down into it, right? So let's see if this works. I'll be honest, in practice runs, it worked a couple times and didn't work so well other times, but we'll see how it goes this time. So I'm actually going to take 2 of these matches. And again, this is something that should absolutely be done by a parent with, you guys can observe or at least help out. So this isn't a experiment for you to go and do on your own. I'm going to light these. I'm going to let them burn for just a second. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to let them burn for just a second just to get the fire going, because as soon as I put it in here, they're going to start to go out. But all I want to do is use these matches to heat up the temperature inside of this bottle. I'm actually going to help it out a little bit by a little piece of cardboard. So I'm going to do this. All right, I'm about to drop these in. I'm going to put this on top. I want you guys to look very closely at what happens to this balloon, okay? Get a little bit of fire going. Again, this is something that should be done by a parent. So I'm putting the balloon on top. Let's see. might try this one more time. Like I said, sometimes it worked. Actually, Mei-Ling helped me out just a little bit ago, and she was very successful in making this work. But you can actually see, so as I pull this off, you can see it started to work. It's kind of stuck in there, and it popped when I went off. Let me try it one more time. I think I actually have a helper coming, I hear. Oh, but yeah. So another thing, you can kind of wet the balloon to help it go down into the bottle. So Mei-Ling is going to do that right now. I know it's a little weird with the organizer of this Zoom and the person conducting it in the same house, but all right, so let's try this again. Mei-Ling's actually going to help me. What was that? Yeah. So she's going to make sure, good. 2 hands are better than 1 here. So as soon as I drop these in, she's going to stick the balloon on top, and we'll see if we can get this to work. It's going slowly. All right, let's try it one more time. You see it's kind of stuck in there. Got a little pop. Okay, we're gonna do it one more time. I'm gonna light 4 of these matches. Mainly we'll try to clear it out a little bit. This is science, right? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. All right, ready? Last try. I think our problem is that it's going out a little bit quickly inside here. Got a nice big flame going. Drop it. The flame hasn't gone out yet. The flame's going out now. Oh, it's going. Oh, it started to go. Let me hold this up just so you guys can see. Hope maybe you guys will have better success. So you can see that it has started to go down into here. I'm gonna pull this out. You guys will hear the pop. It's actually kind of hard to pull out. This one was really close. And the pop. All right, so maybe you guys will have better success than we did there. And like I said, you can do this with an egg. We're trying it with a balloon. But what do you guys think is happening? So why does it start to get pulled down into the bottle? Go ahead, Julian.
It happens to my dorm, my room too. So when it's hot, like in the summer, everything expands. So my door, I kind of get locked in there sometimes. So it expands. The jar is going to expand. And then after it expands, the balloon will drop in. If it's cold, it will shrink in. And yeah.
That's right. That's right. So the air, it's not actually the jar itself, but the air is what's doing it, right? So the air is expanding, right? So you initially get high pressure in here that's locked in by the balloon. And then once those matches go out, everything starts to cool in there, right? So then you have low pressure inside, high pressure outside, and it gets sucked in. Once this bottle cools down a little bit at the very end of today, we might try this one more time because it's just really cool to see the balloon get sucked in. But we'll try it again in a little bit. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. All right, so I wrote down kind of the important points for today. I'm going to go over these quickly. So we're talking about air pressure. So we already talked about air pressure changes because of temperature, altitude, and moisture. Okay, so we just talked about temperature there. We know that air moves from high pressure to low pressure, right? So weather too, right? When you guys feel wind, did you guys know that wind is because of changes in pressure? That's air rushing to get from areas of high pressure to low pressure. So it was really windy here in Altadena earlier this week. That was an example of a different pressure, areas of different pressure and wind and air rushing to get there. Okay. Hold on, sorry. All right, so then this last thing, so we have 4 more experiments to do and some challenges and just some really cool things for you to try at home. And this is somewhat of a difficult concept, but I want to just introduce it briefly. So this is something called Bernoulli's principle. And this is actually the principle that helps us understand why planes fly. Okay, so it's really important. If you're going to fly anywhere, this is the one, Bernoulli's principle. And as you guys get older, you'll learn more and more about it. But the big point here is that when air is moving, it has less pressure. So if we can get air moving, we can generate and make our own areas of low and high pressure. All right, so I'm just going to do a few experiments to kind of show this. We're going to try to get air moving, and we're going to try to make other things move. So I'm actually going to adjust this camera slightly. And you'll see above my head this whole time, I've had 2 balloons hanging. All right. Now, so if I make air move, that creates an area of low pressure, right? So if I can get air to move. So if I were to blow in between these 2 balloons, what do you guys think would happen to the balloon? Okay, I think Julian thinks they're going to go apart. So if I blow in between, they're going to go apart. What do you guys think? Do you think you can do it with your hands. Do you think they'll come together or go apart if I blow in between them? Or do you think one will move and the other won't? All right, so I'm going to blow right in between. I'm going to try not to blow in the balloons. I'm going to try to blow in between, and we're going to see what happens to the balloons. We're going to see if they go way apart or if they do something else. Ready? All right, let's try that again. So nice. Try to keep them nice and still. I'm going to blow right in between. What happened to the balloons? Do they go apart or they come together?
Come together.
All right, so this is all because of air pressure, right? So when I made the air move in between the 2 balloons, that was an area of lower pressure. So it's high pressure out here, low pressure in here. So that caused the air, the invisible air, to push these 2 things together. All right, should we try it again? They just come right together, okay? It's kind of confusing, right? You'd expect them to blow around or maybe blow apart, but they actually can be forced right together. It's all because it changes in air pressure. Image and stop. I think it's all because it changes in air pressure, okay? So we're actually going to do a couple more experiments. Let me move my camera back down. I'm going to get my helpers involved, who I think are losing patience with me a little bit. Give me my chair. All right. All right, so we're going to do another experiment that you guys can try at home. All right, so here I've got a ping pong ball, and I've got the top of a bottle that I've cut off. Okay, so I think I took one of these water bottles and I cut off the top of it. Okay, so again, get a parent to help you with that. But I'm going to take this ping pong ball, I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to blow on the bottom, and I'm going to see what happens. What do you think happens if I were to blow on the bottom of this, like this? What do you think is going to happen to the ping pong ball? You guys think it's going to go up? I see some motions that it's going to go up, that it's going to fall out of this top here. All right, so I'm actually going to challenge Beatrix. So put that down for a second. We have a hair dryer we're going to use in just a second. But let's challenge Beatrix. So come over here. I want you to blow as hard as you can. Keep blowing. All right, what happened to the ping pong ball? It didn't go anywhere, right? Now I'm going to try. So I can blow a little bit harder than she can. So I'm going to blow as hard as I can into the bottom of this. I'm going to see if I can get it to come out. Ready? I kind of fogged it up a little bit there, but you can see it didn't go anywhere. Do you want to try? All right. So that ball is stuck down in there, and it's nice and loose, so you can see it's not stuck in there in any way. It'll fall right out. All I'm doing is blowing air in the bottom, and it's keeping it right inside there. So now I'm going to do this a little bit of a different way. All right, so I have a hair dryer here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can blow air in the bottom and get this ping pong ball to stick into the bottle as I flip it over. All right, ready? So I have the ping pong ball in there. Sorry about the noise. I was just going to say, I was going to warn you guys. It might be a little bit noisy on your computers. All right, so I'm going to start blowing. Let's see, the ball's still in there. Very slowly. And it falls out. All right, so why do you guys think that ball was so stuck in there? We learned that if you blow air, move air, it creates areas of high and low pressure. So if that ball is stuck in there, what do you think is the cause? I saw someone put heat, but this is actually not blowing hot air. It's just blowing regular air. That would be possible, though, if you were heating the air differently. That is a good answer. But this was no heat. So what's happening? Go ahead,
So it's different temperature, so it's kind of pushing in on the ping pong ball while the air dryer, so it's kind of clamping in on it, but just enough. So it's still spinning because I saw it still spinning, but it's still staying in that area because it's kind of clamping on to the ping pong ball.
That's a good answer. And I saw someone else in the comments say that it's creating suction. So both of those two things together are good answers. So what's happening is when I blow air up into here, it's creating an area of low pressure where I'm blowing the air, and then there's higher pressure from just the surrounding air above it. So it's keeping it pressed down in and kind of creating a suctioning effect. So let me try something a little bit different to show you guys. So I'm gonna get a little bit closer. So instead of creating the low pressure here, I'm gonna try to create the low pressure above the ping pong ball. What do you guys think will happen if I can create low pressure up here and have higher pressure down there? What's gonna happen to the ping pong ball? Do you guys think it'll still stay in there? Let's see if I can get it to at least move a little bit. So again, sorry for the noise. I'm really close to the microphone here. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna blow air. Okay, I wasn't able to get it out of here. If you had a slightly smaller lip, you'd be able to get it out. But what was happening to the ball? Was it still stuck down in there? So when I do this, you see how firmly it's stuck. It's spinning, but it's still stuck. And if I blow air across it, I think I got heat going here. I blow air across it.
Then raise it up higher.
All right, so what happens to the ball? Go ahead, Julian.
So it's kind of like the last one, except so there's less air pressure on the side with the the blow dryer and the other side, so it's pushing the ball more up and to this side, so it's kind of attracted to it. Kind of it looks like it's kind of with the boundaries is kind of like pushing up.
Pushing up.
Yeah, because it's pushing from
Yep.
every other direction. Yeah.
So I'm getting low pressure here by blowing air across, right? So if I can move the air really fast, I can get low pressure. Then higher pressure here is going to make that ball move and go up. Same thing if I blow below, that's low pressure here and high pressure here. So even though we can't feel the air, if we can get it to move around, it can start to have different effects, right? All right. So another experiment. So this is a challenge that I'm going to give to my helpers here. So all I have here is a bottle, an empty bottle. And I'm getting a little wad of paper. A little wad of paper. So I want this wad of paper. I'm going to come a little bit closer to the camera here. I want this wad of paper to be about this, a little bit less than half the diameter, half this open space. Okay. So all it is, little wad of paper, and make it a nice little ball. And I'm going to stick it right there. Oh, hold on. Let me try that again. I'm going to stick it right there in that opening. Okay. So you can see it's just resting right there. And I want my helpers here to blow as hard as they can and blow this into that bottle. Do you think they can do it? Do you guys think you could do it? So if I gave you this and I told you to blow as hard as you can into here, do you think it would, this little piece of paper would go into the bottle? Julian says no. I see some head nods, maybe. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to have, hold on, wait. So I'm going to have Beatrix blow as hard as she can. I want you guys to see if you can see where that little wad of paper goes. Ready? Blow. Uh-oh. What happened? So she blew as hard as she could into it, and I'm going to let Imogen try. I bet the older sisters can't do it. I think the younger sisters can do it. Do you think you can do it? Ready? Blow as hard as you can. Uh-oh. It came out again. So no, how about, I think maybe they're too young. If I blow really hard, I'll be able to do it. Okay, stand back for a second. So I'm gonna put it in there. I'm gonna get down to this level. I'm gonna blow as hard as I can directly at that. I've got it eyed up. It went out and then it went over there because I blew it off the table. What do you guys think is happening? Why can't I blow that wad of paper into this bottle? Let's think about it in terms of high and low pressure. Go ahead, Julian.
So when you push that low pressure, it goes past the ball, bounces off, comes back, and shoots the wad out.
That's good. Yep. So what you're doing when I blow the air past the little wad of paper, it goes into the bottle and it creates high pressure inside the bottle and a lower pressure outside. So it's kind of like what you're saying. The air goes in and then it pushes it all back out. Right? So no matter how hard I blow, I cannot get that to go in. I think Beatrix wants to try one more time. You want to try one more time? All right, here she goes. Wait, turn it this way. Blow as hard as you can. Just came back. The harder you blow, the harder it comes right back at you. You got to be careful not to hit yourself in the face with this wad of paper. One more try here. So this is a good challenge for you guys at home, is to try this out. Put that little wad of paper on the edge of a bottle and blow as hard as you can. And you can try different things. Oh, I see someone trying the experiment now. Stuck in there? It might need to be a little bit smaller. Yeah, you just need it to be small enough so it doesn't get stuck. Oh, Beatrix just got it on her dress. All right, so this is the same kind of idea. We're moving air around and we can cause things to happen. And sometimes they're not very obvious. So it's kind of like with the balloons. When I blew air in between it, it caused them to come together. When I blew really hard at that wad of paper, it didn't go in. It just would not go in. All right. So I have another experiment I'm going to do here. This is our last one, but I think we're going to come back to the balloon one I did at the beginning, just to hope that works out. All right, so this is another challenge for you guys at home. All right, I don't know if any of you have little ones, little babies at home. This is the bag from a diaper genie. All right, so it's just a long tube of plastic that I've tied at one end. And what I want to do is I want to fill this bag with air. Okay, and I want to try to get it as full as possible with as little breath as possible. I don't want to have to blow hard, really, really hard to fill this bag up. I want to be able to just blow nice and easy and get it to fill up. So based on what we know, what are some things I could try? Based on what we talked about, or what do you guys think? What are some ways I could get this to full up with air with just me blowing? What do you guys think? What are some things I should try? Should I just put it around my mouth and blow really hard? Who thinks I should do that? No, Julian says no. What do you think, Julian? I hear it. Enough for that. Go ahead.
I don't know.
Okay, well, let's try this. So I'm going to take one big breath. I'm going to take one big breath and I'm going to hold it up to your mouth. Again, parent supervision here. Don't put it too close. And I'm just going to have one big breath into this. I'm going to see how much of this air I can capture. So I'm going to kind of deflate it there. Ready? All right, I closed it real quick. All right, so I got it about half full maybe. And I blew as hard as I could. And it's about half full. I'm going to try something else. I'm going to try to create an area of low pressure to get the air to move. So what can I do to create an area of low pressure and an area of high pressure? Based on what we've done, what could I try? What do you guys think? What if I just try to move the air that's inside the bag to create low pressure in the bag, and then a whole bunch of air is going to go flooding into it, right? So I'm going to so this time I'm not going to hold it that close to my mouth. I'm not going to put my mouth right up to it. I'm going to stand back from it a little bit and I'm going to blow. Ready? Well, let's see what happens to the bag. All right, I've almost got that bag completely full up this time. And I didn't have to blow hard and my mouth was way away from it, right? Should we try it again? So I've got it out away from me. All right, did even better that time. Completely full. Let's have Beatrix try. So let's do it with your mouth up close. So blow as hard as you can. All right, let me get all the air out. I'm gonna have her blow as hard as she can. Oh no. That's how much air she got in there. All right, now I'm gonna try it again, and she's gonna blow from a little bit further away. I'm gonna try to get it up here. Hold up. A little bit better, right? So she was able to create a low pressure area outside the bottle, or outside the bag. That's what I'm gonna try. Okay, blow really hard right into it. Wait, try again. All right, she got about half of it there, or no, about a quarter of it. We'll try again. Ready? Wait, a little further away this time. Blow as hard as you can. Hold on. Blow as hard as you can. I don't know if she's blowing quite hard enough. I'm sure that works. Let me try one more time. Ready? So I'm gonna do it right up close to it. One short breath. About that much. Now I'm gonna try a little further away. All right, so my mouth isn't even up close to it, and I can still fill up this bag. So this is another challenge for you guys to try at home. How can you fill up this bag of air without breathing, trying to blow really hard or blowing right into it, right? So all we're trying to do is the exact same thing. We're moving air and creating areas of low pressure and high pressure. All right, so before we wrap up, I'm actually gonna have, or before we kind of summarize what we talked about, I'm gonna have Mei-Ling, my helper, and my wife come back in, and we're gonna retry the heating balloon experiment. Beatrix, stop it. Okay, I need the little ones to stand back. What's that? What kind of paper did you use? Just this. All right. We're gonna try this one more time. Beatrix, now, buddy. All right, I'm gonna have Beatrix with her balloon stand back from the flame. All right, let's see if we can get this to work. So this is an example of creating a heating up and creating a temperature change in pressure. The flame's not out yet. It's all right. So the flame's got to go out inside. I think this might work this time. Once that flame goes out, it's going to stop heating inside, and then we're going to get that change in pressure that will hopefully suck it in. It's going. There we go. It worked finally. All right. And I'm going to have Mei-Ling actually show you guys how to get it back out. So let's talk about this for a second. So we created that pressure change to get the balloon in. And now all I have is a balloon that's stuck inside of my bottle. And I want to get this balloon back out without poking it and breaking it. What do you guys think we could do to try to get the balloon back out? Go ahead, Julian.
Make it cool. Cool it off.
Yep, so you can definitely cool it off, but we're gonna try to do it a little bit quicker because I don't want to stick this in the freezer or like stick it in cold water or anything like that. We're gonna let Mei-Ling show you how she's gonna get it back out. Let's get some other stuff in there.
You can't pull it.
Can't pull it out, but she's gonna blow into it, pop it out. So why did that work? When she was blowing into it, why was she able to pull it back out like that? What did she do when she blew it? Go ahead, Julian.
Cause the pressure is it's pushing it out, cause all that smoke is warmer than the air pressure outside, so it's pushing all that warm air out with the balloon, so it shoots out.
But why was, so that's good, but then why was blowing it? Why did she blow? Why do you think she blew? Why do you think that was important?
Because the air, it's not fully in there, so the air will go around it, ricochet, and come back and pop it out.
Yeah, so what she's doing also is creating that low pressure outside. She's moving that air and getting low pressure, and then that balloon, the air that's inside, the heated air that you were talking about with the smoke in it, it wants to push that balloon back out, so she's able to pull it right back out. All right, should we try this one more time? Because it was pretty cool. Do you guys want to see the balloon go into the bottle one more time? All right. Sorry, Mei-Ling, can you come back? Oh. We'll try this one more time. But yeah. All right, so she's putting a little bit of water in this and water in the balloon just to kind of help it slide in there a little bit more. All right, you got this. You want to hold that? All right. I'll light this again. Parent supervision for this for sure. Yep. So the flame went out a little bit quick there. So it wants to go. Let's try one more time, okay? I'm also almost out of matches, so this is definitely the last time we're gonna try it. Everything's cooling off a little bit. All right, there you go. Let the flame get a little bit bigger. All right. Okay, we're gonna get a nice good flame. All right, I think we got it this time. The important thing is to kind of get that heating going there. So now the flame's gonna go out. Just did. See, it's going. No, almost. All right, well, we did get it to work out once at least. So that's not bad. At least we showed you guys. This could be a fun thing, again, with your parents to maybe try at home. And you can do this with a hard-boiled egg, which again is pretty cool to see as well. You can see an egg, a whole egg go into a bottle like that. We're out of matches, so.
I pulled down the bottle.
Oh, okay. Mealing also said that before we successfully did it, she cooled down the bottle and had it nice and clean and dry and all that stuff. So again, when you're doing this at home, if you want to try it, then you can do that. So images happening. All right, so we did a whole bunch of experiments. We did 5 different experiments and we talked about air pressure, right? So what are some things that we learned about air pressure? What are some things you guys learned? What can air pressure do? It can help fill up balloons, right? It can create wind. I see that in the comments. That's good. What else can we do with air pressure? Can keep our cars driving on the road. We didn't talk about it today, but the same thing about moving air around and creating differences in pressure, you can, that's why we fly planes. That's why planes work, right? So airplanes you guys, in a very basic way, you guys understood how airplanes work and why they fly and they stay in the air. Did you guys ever wonder why an airplane is able to fly and stay in the air? It's this exact idea. The wing is creating changes in pressure, and that air can move things around. It can move a whole airplane around and keep it up in the air. What's some other things we learned? Anything else? What causes pressure to change? What is something that caused pressure to change? Here's an example of this. So we had the example where our ears were popping. So what was causing a pressure change then? So heat, I see in the comments, heat, that's the example here. So when we warm things up, we change pressure. What about when we're driving up into the mountains? What's happening? What's the change that's causing pressure differences? What do you think? So the thing that's causing that there is altitude. So the higher you go up, the less dense the air is and the less pressure you have, right? So all these different things happen. So let's just to wrap up. So when we talk about weather and wind outside, especially the wind we saw last week, what is the source for that pressure, those pressure differences? What's causing the heat that creates wind? What's our source of heat on Earth? What do you think, Julian? Go ahead.
Sun.
The sun, right? So the sun is the reason that we have wind. Without the heating from the sun, we wouldn't have changes in pressure and different heating in different places, and we wouldn't have any wind. So the same way I'm using the matches as a heat source, the sun is our big heat source here on Earth that causes wind to happen. All right, so I think that's about it for today. Next time we're going to do a different theme. I can't remember how often we're going to do these, but we'll do a different theme, and I'll try to put out the material list for the experiments beforehand so you guys can try them out and kind of work along with me. I saw that some of you were able to go grab materials real quick to try them, but just a lot of fun at home to try the ping pong experiment, trying to blow that wad of paper into a bottle. It's really cool too. It's a good party trick, right? So if you're trying to trick your friends or to fool them in some way, you can give that to them, right? So take a water bottle that you have at school or when you're with friends or family, stick a wad of paper in there and ask them to blow it in there. And no matter how hard they try, they won't be able to do it. So again, these are some fun games and fun experiments that you guys can try out that are actually really important to our lives, right? So that was it for air pressure. Are there any questions before we stop for today? I appreciate you guys coming on and bearing with some of our science experiments that occasionally work and occasionally don't. It's kind of how science is sometimes, but hopefully you all had fun and saw some cool stuff. All right, thanks everyone.
And our next one will be next month. So we'll have some fun things to do next month. So thank you everybody for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you next time.